Most people think real wealth is built in noisy boardrooms, on television, or inside billion-dollar tech companies. But the truth is far stranger. Every single night, while millions of people sleep, someone they've never heard of wakes up thousands of dollars richer. No viral videos, no luxury offices, no celebrity status, just boring businesses quietly collecting money in the background. And once you discover where that money comes from, you'll never look at ordinary businesses the same way again. Picture two neighbors living on the same street. One leaves every morning in an expensive suit, works 12 stressful hours, and returns home exhausted. The other wears simple clothes, spends most afternoons with family, and somehow never seems worried about money. The first neighbor believes the second must have inherited wealth, but one evening he notices something unusual. Delivery trucks keep arriving. Service vans stop outside different properties. Payments continue hitting bank accounts long after sunset. That was the first clue that changed everything. The biggest fortunes are rarely built by chasing excitement. They're built by solving boring problems that never disappear. While everyone dreams about creating the next social media app or becoming a cryptocurrency millionaire, another group quietly owns businesses people almost never talk about. Businesses that don't make headlines, businesses that don't look glamorous, yet they continue printing cash year after year. But the real surprise isn't how much they earn, it's why almost nobody notices them. Take the simple business of self-storage. It sounds almost too ordinary to matter. Rows of metal doors, concrete hallways, security cameras, nothing exciting happens there. Yet, imagine a city where families keep moving into smaller apartments. Businesses need extra space. College students leave town for summer. People go through divorces, inherit furniture, or simply buy more than their homes can hold. Suddenly, those tiny storage units become permanent monthly subscriptions. Customers pay whether they visit once a week or once a year. The buildings rarely require expensive employees. The lights stay on, the gates open automatically, and the money keeps arriving. But nobody could have predicted what came next. One storage owner began with a single property on the edge of town. Friends laughed because it looked like a giant warehouse full of locked doors. They chased restaurants, clothing brands, and trendy startups instead. 10 years later, many of those businesses had disappeared. The storage owner had quietly expanded to 5 locations, each collecting thousands of monthly payments with remarkably low operating costs. His greatest advantage wasn't innovation, it was consistency. But another, even quieter business was making even more. Think about laundromats. Most people walk inside only because their washing machine broke or they don't own one. Bright fluorescent lights, rows of spinning machines, nothing glamorous. Yet every machine becomes a tiny employee working all day without asking for vacations, bonuses, or promotions. Families wash clothes every week, no matter what the economy is doing. Whether markets crash or stocks soar, dirty clothes still need cleaning. That simple reality creates one of the most reliable streams of cash imaginable. But the real problem was just beginning. One entrepreneur nearly walked away after seeing the outdated machines and worn-out floors. Instead of giving up, he replaced equipment, improved security, added digital payments, and kept the store open 24 hours. Within months, customers doubled. The machines worked around the clock while he slept peacefully at home. Every spin cycle quietly deposited more money into his future. And then he realized another overlooked business was even stronger. Now imagine driving down a highway late at night. You barely notice dozens of brightly glowing vending machines. They seem insignificant. Maybe someone buys a bottle of water. Maybe another person grabs a snack. But multiply that tiny purchase by hundreds of people every day across dozens or even hundreds of machines. Suddenly, those coins and card payments become rivers of income. The machines never complain. They don't call in sick. They don't ask for promotions. They simply wait for thirsty customers. What happened next shocked everyone. One investor started with only 3 vending machines placed inside office buildings. Every weekend, he restocked them himself. Friends mocked him because the business looked too small to matter. 5 years later, he owned hundreds spread across airports, hospitals, schools, and factories. While office workers attended meetings, travelers caught flights, and nurses worked overnight shifts, those machines quietly earned money every hour. The biggest lesson wasn't about snacks. It was about scale. Then there is the world of parking lots. Empty pieces of land don't look valuable until thousands of people desperately need somewhere to leave their cars. Stadiums, airports, downtown offices, hospitals. Every morning, vehicles arrive. Every evening, they leave behind another payment. Gates open automatically. Cameras monitor everything. Technology handles much of the operation. The owner may never meet the customers, yet the business keeps collecting cash day after day. But nobody could have predicted how powerful this simple idea could become. In one busy city, an aging parking lot generated more profit than nearby restaurants filled with customers. Restaurant owners struggled with rising food costs, staffing shortages, and unpredictable demand. The parking lot owner simply maintained the pavement, repaired equipment occasionally, and watched steady income continue flowing. Sometimes the least exciting business quietly beats the loudest one. Then there are car washes. On the surface, they're nothing more than soap, water, and spinning brushes. Yet behind every clean vehicle lies a business model built on repetition. Cars get dirty again. Rain falls, dust settles, people return. Modern automated washes process vehicles every few minutes with minimal labor. Monthly membership programs transform unpredictable customers into recurring revenue. This single decision changed everything. One owner introduced unlimited monthly memberships for less than the cost of 2 regular washes. Customers loved the convenience. Many visited only a few times each month, but everyone kept paying. Predictable cash flow replaced uncertainty. The machines worked through sunny afternoons and quiet evenings, while payments continued arriving automatically. It looked almost effortless from the outside. But another business was quietly becoming even stronger. Waste collection is perhaps one of the least glamorous industries imaginable. Nobody dreams about garbage trucks as children. Yet every home, restaurant, apartment complex, office building, and factory creates waste every single day. That waste must go somewhere. The trucks keep moving regardless of recessions, pandemics, or political debates. Society cannot simply stop producing trash, and that makes the business remarkably resilient. One small waste company began with a single truck and a handful of local contracts. Larger competitors ignored tiny neighborhoods because the profits seemed too small. Years later, those forgotten neighborhoods had grown into thriving communities. The little company became the trusted provider. Contracts renewed year after year. Revenue became predictable. While others chased exciting industries, this owner quietly built generational wealth. But the real danger was hiding somewhere else. Many people believe exciting businesses create the highest rewards. Sometimes they do, but excitement often attracts fierce competition. Investors flood in, margins shrink. New technologies replace old ones overnight. Boring businesses usually face the opposite reality. Fewer competitors, loyal customers, predictable demand. They don't rely on trends. They rely on everyday human behavior that changes very slowly. Consider mobile home parks. Mention them at a party, and few people become impressed. Yet they represent something incredibly valuable: affordable housing. Residents often own their homes but rent the land beneath them. That creates steady rental income while reducing many maintenance responsibilities compared with traditional apartment buildings. Occupancy often remains strong because affordable housing is always needed. But nobody could have predicted the emotional twist. One investor almost ignored the opportunity because the properties looked old. After studying the numbers, he realized residents stayed for years. Turnover remained low. Cash flow remained steady. Instead of chasing luxury developments with massive debt, he quietly expanded into more communities. The wealth grew not because the business looked impressive, but because it solved a problem millions of people faced every day. Then there are commercial cleaning companies. Most office workers never notice them. They arrive after everyone leaves. They clean floors, empty trash bins, sanitize bathrooms, and disappear before sunrise. Yet, every office tower, medical clinic, school, hotel, and warehouse depends on cleanliness. Without it, businesses cannot operate properly. Demand repeats every week, every month, every year. The customer rarely celebrates the cleaning crew, but they never want them to disappear either. One entrepreneur cleaned offices personally during the night while working another job during the day. It was exhausting. Friends questioned his choices. Slowly, he hired one employee, then another, then 10 more. Eventually, he no longer cleaned buildings himself. Instead, he managed contracts while teams handled operations. Every signed agreement became another predictable source of recurring revenue. The transformation looked slow from the outside, but unstoppable from within. By now, a pattern begins to emerge. None of these businesses depend on viral fame. None require millions of followers online. They aren't fueled by hype or speculation. They're powered by repetition. People always need storage, clean clothes, snacks, parking, car washes, waste removal, affordable housing, clean buildings. These needs continue regardless of what headlines dominate tomorrow's news. But every story has a darker side. Some owners become overconfident. They believe boring automatically means safe. They stop maintaining equipment. They ignore customer complaints. They borrow too much money to expand too quickly. They assume recurring income can never disappear. That's when pressure quietly enters the picture. A storage facility with broken security loses trust. A laundromat with outdated machines loses customers. Dirty vending machines reduce sales. Poorly maintained parking lots drive visitors away. Neglected car washes damage vehicles. Garbage companies lose contracts after repeated mistakes. Mobile home parks deteriorate without investment. Cleaning businesses collapse if quality slips. Success creates comfort, and comfort often creates complacency. What happened next shocked many owners. Economic downturns expose weak businesses quickly. Owners carrying enormous debt suddenly face rising interest costs. Small mistakes become expensive disasters. Cash flow that once looked endless begins shrinking. Fear replaces confidence. Sleepless nights replace easy profits. The businesses themselves weren't broken, management was. Some entrepreneurs believed expansion alone guaranteed success. They purchased properties at inflated prices, signed loans they barely understood, assumed demand would continue forever. When conditions changed, banks demanded payments regardless of optimism. Pressure turned into panic. Assets were sold. Years of hard work disappeared because discipline disappeared first. Yet others experienced the same economic storms and emerged even stronger. Why? Because they understood one principle: cash flow matters more than appearances. They built emergency reserves, avoided unnecessary debt, maintained their equipment, focused on customer satisfaction instead of showing off wealth. Their businesses continued generating income while competitors struggled to survive. The strange truth about wealth is that it often looks boring from the outside. Television celebrates dramatic success stories filled with billion-dollar valuations and overnight fame. Real financial freedom usually arrives much more quietly. It arrives through thousands of ordinary transactions repeated again and again until the numbers become extraordinary. Imagine waking tomorrow morning. Before your alarm rings, someone has already paid for a storage unit. A family has started a washing machine. A traveler has bought a bottle of water. A commuter has parked downtown. A driver has renewed a monthly car wash membership. A business has scheduled waste collection. A resident has paid land rent. An office manager has approved another cleaning invoice. None of those payments feel dramatic on their own. Together, they create something incredibly powerful. That is why experienced investors often smile when everyone else rushes toward the latest trend. They understand human psychology. Crowds chase excitement because excitement feels rewarding. Quiet opportunities rarely attract attention because they don't produce thrilling conversations. Yet fortunes are often hidden inside problems most people consider too ordinary to notice. The greatest irony is that these businesses rarely make their owners famous. They won't appear on magazine covers every month. Friends may never understand how they became wealthy. But while others constantly search for the next big thing, these entrepreneurs continue building systems that quietly earn money through discipline, patience, and consistency. The world will always celebrate flashy success, expensive cars, billion-dollar startups, overnight millionaires. But history tells a different story. Lasting wealth usually belongs to people who found ordinary problems, created reliable solutions, and repeated them for years without losing focus. Because in the end, the richest person in the room isn't always the loudest, the smartest, or the most famous. Sometimes it's the quiet owner of a business nobody talks about, collecting small payments from thousands of ordinary people every single day. While the world sleeps, those tiny payments become something extraordinary. And once you truly understand that, you'll stop asking which business looks exciting and start asking which one still gets paid tomorrow morning.